What are you doing? We're gonna do this video or what?
I'm texting Trump.
Yeah, okay.
No, I'm serious. I'm trying to get the Hearing Protection Act pushed through here.
I want to hold my breath on that.
This is important.
Yeah, it is important. And like anything, it's going to take a while. This is a federal government we're talking about. They need to move quick on anything.
That's true. What's going on, guys? This is Burrs here with Nate Murr. He is the Director of Business Development at Connect Development Group and the inventor of the Grip Stop. And today I wanted to bring him in on this discussion about the A2 flash hider. I've had a few comments in relation to people saying that the A2 flash hider sucks, or this build, which was the budget jack carbine build, is inferior because it doesn't have a super, high speed, low drag, whatever muzzle device on it. So what are our thoughts here on the A2 flash hider? I've showed many videos in the past, you guys see me shooting, and this thing shoots flat as shit. So what are your thoughts, because you have a ton of...
I'm going to say right now, like, I love flash hiders, right? I'm a flash hider guy through and through. So, I mean, it doesn't mean I don't have a couple rifles set up with muzzle brakes, but I definitely prefer a flash hider over a brake for a couple different reasons, right? The A2 flash hider, I mean, it's an improvement over the A1 flash hider. And we fought in Vietnam for years with the A1 flash hider, and nobody complained about it, really. There wasn't that many issues with it. The A2 came out with the M16 A2 rifle, and there wasn't really any complaints about it from the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, anybody for like 30 years, right? So all the 80s, 90s, like the majority of rifles used in Iraq and Afghanistan throughout 2000s, like all of them had A2 flash hiders. And I don't know many guys that I served with that would complain about the A2 being bad at its job at all, right? So like the purpose of a flash hider is to hide flash, because it's kind of like a tracer. It works both ways. Like, it's dark, you're wearing nods, you're shooting a rifle, so like you don't want that much of a signature for the bad guy to shoot back at. Meanwhile, the dude's shooting at you with an AK-47 with no flash hider, and you just look for that flash and put the dot where the flash is and pull the trigger, and all of a sudden that flash stops coming. Either you shot the guy or he decided he had better things to do. So flash hiders are designed to hide flash, so it's harder for the enemy to kill you. That's really what it's all about. I like flash hiders because most of them serve, and the A2 definitely does, serves partially as a compensator. You have the slots on the top, but not on the bottom. So that gas is vented upwards, and it pushes the muzzle down. Now, does it do it as well as Super Spec 2000 whatever comp? Probably not, but like, it's really what you're trying to get out of the rifle, what you're trying to do with it. There's nothing wrong with A2 flash hider. I still have plenty of rifles set up with A2 flash hiders. They're like $5 too. So if you're gonna do a build, you're building your first AR, you're building an AR, you don't really know what you want. Like, say, oh, I'm gonna buy a suppressor down the road. Most suppressors use a proprietary muzzle device of some sort, right? Well, since I don't know what can I want to buy, I'm not gonna buy a $100 adapter muzzle device and then put it on my gun only to choose a different can and not have it be compatible.
Right. Now, do you think people get confused with muzzle devices versus length of gas tube system, or the gas system? Because if you get a carbine length versus a mid length, you're gonna have a different feel and recoil and everything. People might get that confused with a flash hider.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like virtually all flash hiders, that's what they do. Their primary job is the help kill that flash, right? So people will shoot like one flash hider with one type of ammo, and they're like, oh, this doesn't do anything to hide flash. So like military powder is designed to be low flash. So if you're shooting like Winchester white box or like Tula steel case, it's not going to be the same as you shooting an M855 green tip Lake City, right? It's not the same powder, so it's not the same signature. So like as civilians, we mostly don't care about flash because we're shooting at 3-gun matches, shooting at our local gun club. What's flash matter? Nobody's trying to kill us right now. It doesn't. But I tell you right now, it definitely matters to guys overseas when guys are shooting for your flash like you're shooting for theirs. So, I don't see what the big deal is at all about it. Like if you use a prong style flash hider, like I'm a huge fan of the Vortex. What is who make a Smith?
BG6?
No, like the Smith Enterprise Vortex. That was like the first flash hider that wasn't an A2, and it's still on the market. I have guns set up with that flash hider. That was like the cat's pajamas for like a decade, and it works well. I would even say that it works better than a lot of other new designs that are coming out today. But I don't know, it's one of those things. I think guys are always looking for something different, something sexy they want to put, make their rifle stand apart. And honestly, I think a lot of people buy muzzle devices for their rifles not really fully understanding what that design is all about.
So it's kind of like a new pair of shoes.
Yeah, it's just something new to try out and brag about.
Go to the range and be like, yo, check this out.
But like you're talking about the gas system, like I can't quantify that like one flash hider is better than another flash hider for like muzzle rise, right? Or like recoil or anything like that. I can't tell the difference.
But if you go from a carbine to a mid-length, you are going to notice a difference with recoil and
yeah.
and
but like here's the thing, but like maybe not, because depending on what buffer I have and what buffer spring I have, it's just like it's some of its parts. So it's not just one thing.
But do you think people get confused with muzzle devices versus all the other shit that is in relation to the gun that would mitigate that, and they just focus on just a flash hider or the muzzle device?
It's like I can see somebody making a comment like, "Oh, dude, it's because you got an A2 flash hider. That's why your gun feels like it has so much, muzzle rise to it, or more recoil, whatever it might be." But the thing is, like an AR-15 in particular, it's the sum of its parts. Like if you have a crazy expensive like $200 comp on your gun, and then you have like a standard carbine buffer that you got off like the internet for $5, it's like, is that the appropriate buffer? Is that appropriate buffer spring?
Right.
Like it all adds up to be what it is. Like
it's not usually one thing that.
It's not usually one thing. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying right there. So if anybody tells you that there's something wrong with the A2 flash hider, then ask them why we're still putting on issued guns. Why does every single M4 and M16 leave with an A2 flash hider? There's hundreds of different options on the market. Why do we still choose to use that? Because it's a perfectly usable muzzle device. It works perfectly fine. Is it the best? Maybe, maybe not. There's plenty of studies and testing data provided by Crane and independent laboratories and individuals that went out and shot every single muzzle device they could possibly find in as scientific a way as possible. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's my default flash hider. That's what I go back to. Because it's $5. It works great. We've been using it for 30 years. It's like, and it's,
Now, does it fit every single thing out there? No. It's not going to fit every application. But if you're just building a gun to build an AR, to have an AR, you're not building it for competition, all that stuff, I think it's a great flash hider.
Yeah.
Or it's a great muzzle device, period. Now, you can go to something like the OSS. This is the Alpha 1.
Yeah, which we both, this is your rifle. I have the same muzzle device on my rifles, and the whole thing that drew me to this guy was it's a flash hiding muzzle brake. So I get the same benefits of a muzzle brake, but with lower flash. And most muzzle brakes and comps enhance the flash. It does the opposite. It makes your signature bigger, right? Definitely makes the gun louder. And this guy does make the gun louder, but that's not the premise of it. The premise is to have it as a flash hiding muzzle brake, and I think it does a really good job of that. But these things are, what, they're like well over $100, right?
That's about $120.
Yeah, $120. They're salty flash hiders. So like, is it for me? I'm like, maybe, maybe not. But if I'm trying to get my rifle built just so I can start shooting it and enjoying it, I'm gonna spend $5 on an A2.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna do my research and like, do I want this one or I don't want that one? I'll talk to other guys that are using a different brake. This new brake came out. I'm gonna investigate before I spend the money, especially considering how expensive some muzzle devices are.
Yeah, because you want to put one on and be like, oh, I don't like this.
Yeah, and it's not one of those things that people really like to be returned, you know?
Then you gotta put it back on. If you don't do that yourself, then you gotta take it to a gunsmith, blah, 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 blah.
So if you're rocking an A2, I mean, like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like I said, I got plenty of rifles with A2 flash hiders, and I don't see that changing. Like I said, it's my default flash hider, and it's that case for the majority of rifles out there being carried in harm's way. So
we're gonna put this in bed right now. The A2 flash hider is perfectly fucking fine. You agree?
And yep, 100%.
Awesome. So if you guys have any questions or anything, go ahead and put them down below. If you have any comments, like maybe you don't like the A2 flash hider still, go ahead and put that down below. And
if you're gonna do that, can you do me a favor and quantify why you don't like it? Just don't say like, I don't like it because it's ugly or it's stupid. Like, quantify it with something substantial. Because that's the thing, it drives me insane. Everybody's like, I don't like it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, like, why don't you like it? And they have nothing to back it up with.
Because it's painted black.
Because yeah, it's like these arbitrary things that they don't like about it. So if you're gonna bring a complaint against it, I want to hear, like, well, it doesn't perform as well as blank or whatever it might be. But like, I like to hear what people have to think, but I like when it's backed up with something that
you like to have a discussion rather than
a discussion instead of just like a hate fest in the comment section. So
until next time, later.
I'm gonna hurt everybody's feelings like I usually do. Like,